Says Fox Titan tilde. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs Aster. Says Fox Titan. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs, if I beat you in rock paper scissors, you will wear that PFP for a day. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSAAA no PLS. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs, and if I lose, you get 100 KOO. Says Try Kitsune 4096 Yay GG00000. Says Try Kitsune 4096 HAHAHAHAHAHAH. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Kitsune you count. Multiply New Jap Gaming. Says Try Kitsune 4096 OK. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS I am ready. Says Try Kitsune 4096 ready Sienna. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs await. Says Try Kitsune 4096 OK. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS paper. Multiply Cassie. Multiply New Prestige Locker. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs leather is paper. Says Try Kitsune 4096 is that paper. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs Axolotl for scissors. Says Fox Admin tilde. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Kitsune. Says Fox. Says Fox Admin tilde obfuscated yep. Says Try Kitsune 4096 wait I think she is not ready. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs wait. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS we should rename this. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs I put my thing in the blue shulker. Says Fox Titan tilde. Says Fox Titan tilde C. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS OK. Says Try Kitsune 4096 3. Says Try Kitsune 4096 2. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah OUM. Says Try Kitsune 4. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs A. Says Ibis MV. Says Try Kitsune 4096 who is winner. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs me. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSK ready. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Kellen. Says Try Kitsune 4096 1. Says Ibis MVP. Says Fox. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS 1 to 1. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS smiley face. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS 3. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs this is the last round. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs wait what? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS best of 3. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs first to 3 or best of 3. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS first. Says Ibis MVP. Says Try Kitsune 4096 haha woo is winner. Says Ibis Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS not yet. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS whoever is 3 wins. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs this is quite slow. Says Ibis MVP Tiny. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs we check ourselves. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs damn it. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSHAHAHAH. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS 2 to 1. Says Try Kitsune 4096 AHAHAHAH. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS go. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs ready. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS ah. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs A. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs dang. Says Try Kitsune 4096 last round. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSU1. Says try Kitsune 4096 pair pics. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squig so. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS fine. Says Saint RJAY Fireworks Po. Says Saint RJAY Marin. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs RJAY. Says Saint RJAY Mahal A. Chat game. The first to unshuffle, Light Shulker. Box blue, back to the right order wins. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs OK. Says Saint RJAY RJ's. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah light blue Shulker box. Titan tilde Queen Leah put, light blue. Shulker box, back in the right order in 22.32 seconds. 149. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs 00. Says Ibis MV. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs wait Discord broke lemme rejoin and fix it. Says Saint RJAY for fireworks. Multiply Kitsune 4. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 yes. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 not dating. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 QWQ. Says Saint RJA. Discord Discord Titan. Says try Kitsune 4096 for what is this? Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS I was forced. Smile. Says Saint RJAY for fireworks. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS XD. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 hey at least it's cute. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS you're about to. Discord Titan squiggles 3200. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS skull. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 maybe it's just me being very close YK. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 best buddies. Multiply MVP Arsenal 322. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 I'm still gonna give you the money. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS when can I change it? Says New Angel ha 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 ha. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 tomorrow at 2 p.m. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS air. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS fine. Discord Titan squiggles 3274 wait can we test something? Discord verified Discord Titan Squig. Says try Kitsune 4009. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS, I know what it's for. Says try Kitsune 4096 WDYM. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274 what? Says try Kitsune 4096 you can't. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS, you're gonna screenshot it and pretend to be. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk. Discord Titan. Discord Titan Squiggles 3207. Discord. Discord. Says. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS Loke. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk X. Angel has made the. Discord Titan Squiggles 3200. Discord Titan Squiggles. Says Fox Titan. Discord Discord Titan Squiggles 3274. Actually wait. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk X. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274. I'll use the browser version. Says try Kitsune 4096 off. Says Sane RJAY Song Ha. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274 Aster. Says try Kitsune 4096 NKAKA Pag Chatka NMN Paula A. Says Sane RJAY yes. Says Sane RJAY yes. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274. Ah wait, I don't remember how it worked. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274. Wait. Says try Kitsune 4009. Says Sane RJAY Kahit Elon. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274. Oh okay, I know, no way. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274 now. Says try Kitsune 4096. Wait, Igawa NLNG Kitame Madami Akong. Says same. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS, are you joining? Discord. Says try Kitsune 4096 on Yotong Diamond Mo. Says Sane RJAY Yan Pasasalam at Co. Discord Titan Squiggles 3274 replying to Tiny Asterisk XS Minecraft. Discord verified Tiny Asterisk XS Ya. Says try Kitsune 4090. Says try Kitsune 4096 wait Dido ka LNG Kukua LNG Ako fireworks saw base. Says Sane RJAYOK. Says Sane RJAY Hilo. Says try Kitsune 4096 Idona. Says try Kitsune 4096 here. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs anyways. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs what now? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS look to the two shops. Says Sane RJAY thanks. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs must be a bug. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS how? Says Sane RJAY thank you. Says try Kitsune 4096 OKN. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs where should the project be? Says try Kitsune 4096 or welcome. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS I was thinking here. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs bigger is better though. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS are here. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS but there's a build. Says try Kitsune 4096 64. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS a BFF look. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS behind you. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs I put it there oo. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSOI though it was likes. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSIK. Angel has made the advancement Monster Hunter. Multiply. Says Ibis. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs Shark claimed it. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS we can ask him. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS. Says Fox Titan tilde. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS to YK leave this. Multiply Kitsune 4096. Says Fox. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Dark Oak Wood stripped. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Depoda. Says Fox Titan tilde Die stripped Dark Oak Wood. Says Fox Titan tilde Die Deco Kita Young Chat Games. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah. Says Fox. Discord VIP people. Discord VIP. Says Fox Titan tilde Die Your Highness. Says Fox Titan tilde Die. Discord V. Dis. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS lol. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS should we put it here then? Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs all of the good spots are claimed. Says Fox Titan tilde Die Ada May. Says Fox Titan tilde Die Tatapusan Ko Na Young Farm. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Ooh. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS this. Says Ibis MVP. Says Fox Titan tilde. Discord VIP. Says Fox Titan tilde Die and. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS you ask. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah WLA Kabang Bones. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs you ask. Says Ibis MVP. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah C. Says New Angel. Says Fox Titan tilde die die dammy nmn mi onyo. Says Fox Titan tilde die die kelp. Says Ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS. Says Ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS are still together. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs n. Says Ibis MVP tiny ast. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs what's your excuse here oh. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs you ask QWQ. Says Fox Titan tilde die die young farm. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna. Says Ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS why not? Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs well it would end well if it was you asking. Says Fox Titan tilde. Says I. New RJ Boss's first time joined. Number 1855 players ever joined. RJ Bosses has made the advancement getting an upgrade. Discord VIP People Shark Desktop Computer Hi. Says Ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS can we talk DMS? Discord VIP People Shark Desktop Computer about what? Says Fox Titan tilde die die unlucky lackey ing farm co. Says Fox Titan tilde die die impossible ngd Makita. Says Ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS about Minecraft shops. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Asa Ilalim Kaba. Says Fox Titan tilde. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Rinig Kita. Says Fox Titan tilde die die Punta Ka Sa Temple. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Asa Village Akko. Multiply new RJ bosses. CosmoCraft Max 5046 was slain by a bunch of phantoms. Hey Sun Hey Yoon. You haven't voted recently. You can vote and get cool rewards for helping the server you play on. Multiply new RJ bosses. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah sleep. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs, what did he say? Oh. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Shish. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Lee asleep. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Lee Anawala. Says Fox Titan tilde die D. CosmoCraft Max 5046 thought they could swim forever. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS done. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS where are you? Says Fox Titan tilde die D pa tapo say. Says Ibis. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs what? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS are up there the whole time. Says Fox. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS HAHAHAHAHA. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS he said fine. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Says Ibis MVP. Says Fox. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS get the plot. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs let's move all the stuff I haven't. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS shish. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS OMG. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs ooh. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS are so sneaky. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs where are you? Discord verified Father Creep Kitsu. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS getting my stuffs away. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS sure. Says ibis. Says fox. Chat game. The first to type, nether, wins. Says fox titan tilde die nether. Titan tilde die typed, nether, in 2.21 seconds. 1230. Says fox titan tilde sienna squigs await here. Multiply kitsune 4096. Says fox titan tilde sienna squigs nah. Says fox titan tilde sienna squigs we just need to move items. Says ibis MVP tiny asterisk XS oak. Discord verified, Zine 19, yo ma gang dang happen sanyo. Says fox titan tilde die yo sup zen. Says I Says fox titan tilde die Hindi sinabi saw live tt. Says Fox Titan tilde di numino ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Says Fox Titan tilde di. Says Fox Titan tilde di ang bilis sabahin amp. Says Fox Titan tilde di. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs alright. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna. Says Fox. Says Fox Titan tilde di. There's a word that has 183k letters. Says Fox Titan tilde di 189k. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS. Should I get Shark to get online? Says Fox Titan tilde C. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS waiting for response. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS. Am I the one? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSY. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSO. OK. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs. How do you delete shops again? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS. He's getting in. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk. Says Fox Titan tilde di at Adelaide. Says Fox. Says Ibis. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah Shuta. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Ass. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna squigs. The one moss carpet lived. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS this is sad. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs it's fine. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS keep it. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs W. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs making room for the new generation UWU. Says Ibis MVP. CosmoCraft King was gone up on. Says Astra VIP people shark high. Says Ibis servant. Says Fox Titan tilde die po. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSAAA high. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS shop. Says Ibis servant candy paw anvil. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs so Says Astra VIP people shark OMW. Says Fox Titan tilde die wait. Says Ibis servant candy ing name tag co. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs what should we build? Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSU. Respawn point set. Says Fox Titan tilde die spawn. Says Astra VIP people shark so. CosmoCraft Squiggy was gone up on by some zombified piglins. One whack them with golden sword. Says Fox Titan tilde die. Says Fox Titan tilde die for lang. Says Ibis servant candy yep. Says Fox Titan tilde die. Says Astra V. Says Astra VIP people shark there. Says Fox Titan tilde die on yo lolligay kong name. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs how much do we pay you? Says Ibis servant candy mob. Says Fox Titan tilde Queen Leah out. Says Fox multiply servant king. Says Ibis servant candy thanks. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk X. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs ya. Says Astra VIP people shark thanks. Says Astra VIP people shark CYA. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XSAAA. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs WTF. New doomed 1 384,175 first time joined. Number 1856 players ever joined. Doomed 384,175 has made the advancement getting an upgrade. Multiply Titan tilde Queen Leah. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS try getting your dad to change this floor. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs it's bug. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs yeah. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs any Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Prob AFK. Multiply VIP People Shark. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Perm I mean. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS mean. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS Gs. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs WTF. Chat game. The first to fill in, _T_N_B_B__N__B__W________ wins. Make sure to only type the missing letters. Says Fox Titan tilde Sienna Squigs I can't place blocks QWQ. Says Ibis MVP Tiny Asterisk XS same lol. Says Fox